National Aeronautics and Space Administration doesn't know exactly how many devices are connected to its networks. A new Inspector General report finds NASA needs to do more to secure its networks from unauthorized access. Kim Benoit is Assistant Inspector General for Audits at NASA. Thanks for being here, Kim. What were the main takeaways from your report?
So the main takeaway from our report is that IT security is really difficult. Mobility presents even more challenges. However, the agency is making progress in finding what devices are on the network and increasing security. They've started to implement controls around mobile device management and also their VPN to further secure IT devices that are connected to the network. However, more work remains to be done.
What's the root of the problem there? Why is NASA struggling to get this accurate count of devices that are on its networks?
So there's really two things that are contributing to this problem. The first is that NASA operates in a decentralized manner. So different NASA centers have different ways of authorizing devices to come onto the network. And then the second thing that we found is that there's a lack of enterprise-wide monitoring. So it's very difficult for the agency to get an overarching view of what devices are connected to the network. The agency has started to take steps to address this. They've implemented network access control, and they're working with Department of Homeland Security to implement continuous diagnostics monitoring.
What did you find were the problems created here? What risks does this present for the agency's cybersecurity?
So mobile devices present unique security challenges for any federal government agency. They're portable. They can attach to a variety of different networks easily. Apple and Android operating systems have their own unique security challenges. And then also devices that users use for both personal and federal or official use, there's a potential that the data could be commingled. So because of these risks, because of these factors, there's elevated risks of either data loss or introducing something to the network that may cause a further security breach.
I noticed in your report, you noted that NASA tried to crack down on its network security in 2018, but then there was some backlash to that policy. What happened there?
So as we noted in our report, since 2006, the agency has had a variety of policies and memoranda related to the use of mobile devices. And so securing mobile devices is difficult because you need to balance user functionality with security. And sometimes those two things are working at odds with each other. So the agency had an initial policy that was too restrictive and impacted user functionality and what users needed to do on their devices. So they loosened up the policy and made it less restrictive so that they'd have more monitoring. And in my estimation, this was a good move because in my experience, if you have IT security policy that's too restrictive, your users will find a way around it. And then that presents a whole new host of challenges.
Sure. What recommendations did your report make for NASA?
So we made recommendations looking forward to centralizing oversight of mobile devices, enhancing the policies, and working to continue down the path of their strategy to increase IT security.
How has NASA responded to those recommendations?
The agency has been receptive to the recommendations, and they're in alignment with the IT security strategy that they've set out. So between our office and their organization, there's agreement that these are things that need to be done to secure the enterprise. And I'll say that the OIG continuously monitors IT security at NASA through our annual FISMA audits and then other audits that we've done related to cybersecurity. So it's something that we're constantly engaging with the agency on.
Sure. You mentioned sort of this push-pull between trying to make sure it's secure and trying to make sure it's functional for the users. Do you think that it just takes time to get that balance? Do you think it's sort of there's a little bit of inevitable kind of try and recalibrate? How do you think that goes?
Yeah, I mean, it's a continuous struggle across the federal government. So, your devices are constantly changing. The phone you had 7 years ago doesn't look like the one in your pocket today. And the phone you're going to have 7 years from now won't look like the one you have now either. So, the agencies need to keep pace with the changing mobility. And then user demands and the way that users do their work has also changed. There's been an increased focus on mobility, even with the pandemic and stay at home orders. We're all relying a lot more on our IT devices than we previously did. So it's a continuous challenge and a continuous struggle to find that right balance between user IT security needs and protecting the information.
And with just about a minute to go, Kim, what do you see as the role of contractors and other, outside users of NASA networks? What do they need to be doing better, and what does NASA need to do to ensure that works out?
So NASA has a lot of information, and it's incumbent upon the federal employees as well as the contractors to protect that information and make sure that it's adequately secured and used appropriately, and not to introduce additional threats to the network. So cybersecurity is very important. And, as we've seen from public breaches all across the government, it's everybody's responsibility.
Sure. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.